Marvel Zombies by Christopher J. Valin. Fade in. Exterior Manhattan skyline day, but not our Manhattan skyline. It's slightly different, but with more of a late 60s, early 70s look, including the Twin Towers.
The hunger.
Exterior Manhattan apartment building day. Mindy, 15, and her dad, Danny, 40, get into their car in front of their apartment building. They seem to be in a rush to get going.
That's what they called it.
She looks up as the sky goes dark and lightning appears suddenly.
It arrived one morning with a flash in the sky and a ripple through the clouds.
Danny leans toward his daughter.
Get in, honey. We don't want to be late.
Mindy finishes climbing into the car as loud thunder crashes in the sky. Pull out into traffic.
By the end of the day, almost everyone was dead.
Exterior Times Square day. A yellow and blue streak plummets from the sky and explodes as it collides with cars on the street. Car alarms wail and store windows smash from the shockwave created by the impact. Dust and debris is thrown up into the air. Cars slam into one another in an attempt to void the wreckage that's been created. Some curious onlookers circle the scene while others flee. There's a smoldering crater at the center of the wreckage, but people are too afraid to get close to it. A few squad cars pull up and several cops rush out of their vehicles. They wave off the rubberneckers.
Stand back!
Everyone back off. Get away from there.
What do you think? Some kind of meteor?
I don't know. I think NASA would have warned us about something like that.
They draw their weapons just in case.
With our luck, it'll be some UFO coming here to start an alien invasion.
I'm telling you, it's someone else's turn to deal with an alien invasion. Why is it always got to be here?
It's not an alien invasion.
It does seem to happen a lot lately. Skrulls, Kree, that big purple guy.
It always has something to do with these costumed freaks. They're everywhere now. I think they're drawing them here or something.
As the officers approach the crater, a figure becomes visible. A man in a yellow costume and blue cape lies face down in the center of the wreckage. There's no way a normal person could have survived the fall and the explosion. It appears to be the powerful superhero Sentry. The cops look at each other, unsure of what to do. They stand in silence for a moment. Cop number 3 takes off his hat and rubs his balding head.
Anyone have the number for the Avengers?
Exterior Manhattan Police Precinct, day. A plainclothes detective, Officer Kelly Ridge, 30, walks out of the precinct station with her partner, Detective Flint, 50s, a gruff veteran who's already had too much coffee today, as usual. He looks at the sky and grimaces.
Thought it was supposed to be sunny today.
Give me the keys, Flint.
I'm driving, Rich.
She shakes her head vigorously.
Oh, no, you're not. You get too upset when traffic gets bad. I'm not dealing with that. Plus, this way you can enjoy your coffee.
He looks down at his cup and considers. Finally, he points at her and nods.
Just today.
He throws her the keys as they arrive at their unmarked police car. Exterior Manhattan Bank, day. 4 large construction workers in their 30s walk down the sidewalk in front of a bank as if they're going to work. The guy in front carries a crowbar that shines like it's brand new and been polished.
You guys ready?
The guy closest to him has the thickest neck you've ever seen and wears a strange helmet, as if he's going to be doing some sort of special job. He adjusts it as he walks.
As I'll ever be, boss.
The third guy with platinum blonde hair has huge hands that seem too big for his body. He pounds his right fist into his left palm.
Let's do this.
The fourth, a handsome African-American, carries a large canvas bag that looks like it contains the biggest bowling ball ever created.
Don't forget, nobody gets hurt this time, right?
The leader looks annoyed at him as they head into the bank. They all pull masks down over their faces. The fourth man opens his bag and removes a gigantic metal wrecking ball, chain and all. Interior, Danny's car, day. Danny tries to wind his way through traffic, which has become a nightmare due to the incident in Times Square. He honks his horn.
Come on, what the hell's going on up there?
He turns on the radio but gets nothing but static as he moves through the stations. He leans back and lets out a sigh.
Stop stressing so much. No, it's not going to make them go any faster.
Fire engines and an ambulance rush by between the lanes of traffic, sirens blaring. Danny hits the steering wheel in frustration.
Great, an accident. We're going to be here all day.
He looks at his daughter, trying to hide the concern in his expression.
What?
You feeling okay?
Mindy looks away. Not again.
I'm fine.
Are you sure? Because you look a little...
I said I'm fine.
He looks back to the right, then pulls the car up onto the sidewalk.
Dad, are you crazy? What are you doing?
We're not missing your appointment.
A few pedestrians yell at him, and one guy hits the hood of Danny's car with the palm of his hand and makes a rude gesture. Danny pulls into an alley a few yards down as Mindy hides her face in embarrassment. Exterior, Shield Helicarrier, day. The gargantuan Shield Helicarrier hovers above New York City, close to the strange storm in the sky. The dark cloud seems to be dissipating. Interior, shield helicarrier bridge, day. Director Nick Fury walks onto the bridge of the helicarrier like he owns the place, because basically he does. Shield agents and pilots immediately sit up straighter in their seats as soon as they notice his presence. Agent Maria Hill stands up at attention.
Director on the bridge!
Cut it out, Hill. You know I can't stand that.
Yes, sir.
She hands him a tablet to look over.
I thought that freak storm was going to knock us out of the sky. What the hell is going on out there?
Techies make calculations at their science stations. They look worried.
We're still trying to make sense of these readings, sir, but the energy levels are off the charts.
Give me a number.
It's fluctuating, but at least a 7.5 on average.
7.5. That close to us? We're lucky we're still here.
The repulsor technology is working overtime, but we should be okay for now.
There are numerous reports that something landed in Times Square. We still haven't been able to determine what that is.
How about we get some damn answers before this situation gets out of control? And where's Banner? I don't need this getting stressed out over this.
He's in his lab, sir.
Tell him he's got to get his ass up here.
Fury looks at a video feed of the smoking crater on one of the screens.
And tell those cops to get the hell away from there and cordon off the area.
Yes, sir.
What's the ETA on the rest of the Avengers?
They should be arriving on the scene right about now, sir.
Exterior, Times Square, day. The Avengers show up at the scene, but they're not the Avengers we're used to. They're dressed in retro costumes, and in addition to the usual members, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Thor, the group includes Black Panther, Luke Cage, Giant Man, the Wasp, and Ms. Marvel. Carol Danvers, the current Captain Marvel. Their leader, the Star-Spangled Soldier, Colonel America, approaches cop number 1.
Status, officer?
Well, Colonel, we don't know much other than what you see here. Witnesses say this guy fell to the sky during that weird-ass storm.
Thank you. Why don't you and your fellow officers clear the area, just in case, of course.
The cops are relieved.
You got it, boss. Let's go, boys.
Colonel America looks at Sentry, then turns to the rest of his team.
I don't recognize the costume. Anyone else?
The other Avengers shake their heads. He looks directly at the Wasp.
Janet, you're the fashion expert. You never seen it?
Believe me, if I'd seen a costume that ugly before, I'd remember.
Tony, you hear anything from S.H.I.E.L.D. yet?
Iron Man taps the side of his helmet.
Communications are being disrupted, but I'm picking up a bit. Sounds like they're still working on it. They just brought Bruce in to help figure things out.
Ms. Marvel rolls her eyes.
I hope they gave him his happy pills first.
Black Widow gives her a dirty look.
Hey now.
The Colonel gets between them.
Calm down, Natasha. There's no need for that, Carol. He hasn't had a problem in months now.
Yeah? Well, you won't need to be dealing with that on top of whatever this is.
He nudges Luke Cage.
Am I right?
Luke Cage crosses his arms and scowls at him. Giant Man uses an instrument to take readings on the crater and the being inside of it.
I don't recognize anything I'm seeing here, but from what I can tell, it seems to be extra-dimensional.
Do you have the facial recognition program, Hank?
Yeah, but we'll have to turn him over to use it.
There's no radiation, I'll take a look.
Be careful.
Iron Man walks into the crater. He crouches next to Sentry's body. Inside the helmet, Tony Stark goes through the readings being projected before his eyes.
My sensors indicate no heartbeat or pulse, but I am getting...
Sentry's arm snaps out and grabs Iron Man's arm. Iron Man can't pull it loose.
He's pretty strong for a dead guy.
From the edge of the crater, Hawkeye aims his bow at Sentry's head.
Let him go!
Sentry lifts his head to reveal that he's a zombie. Necrotized flesh, the skin pulled back from his rotting mouth and yellow teeth, his eyes sunken into his head. Not only is Sentry a zombie, he's super strong and super fast. Hawkeye shoots his arrow, but Sentry catches it with his other hand. Sentry tries to bite Iron Man's arm, but the armor protects him, barely. His teeth are strong enough to leave tiny dents in the armor. Iron Man tries to blast away, but Sentry's grip is too strong. Colonel America throws his shield, then jumps into the crater to help, but Sentry moves so fast he's almost a blur. The shield misses, then ricochets off the edge of the crater. The Colonel catches his shield, then tries to land a series of blows with it. Sentry counters every move with ease. In fact, he almost seems bored. He grabs the Colonel by the neck and takes a big bite out of his shoulder. The Colonel drops to his knees. He immediately starts to vomit. Iron Man blasts Sentry with a repulsor ray from his chest, and Sentry is pushed back straight into the midst of the rest of the Avengers. They converge on him. Interior, unmarked police car, day. Officer Ridge attempts to drive through the traffic to Times Square. She tries placing the removable light on top of her car, but nobody pays attention to it. In the passenger seat, her partner spills coffee on his tie as he sees something out of the window.
What the hell is that?
Kelly looks over at the bank across the street, the one from earlier. The wall blows open and 4 large figures walk through the dust and debris. They are just silhouettes due to everything obscuring the view.
We need to check that out.
What about the emergency up there?
We're never gonna get there in this traffic. Plus, the whole department's headed down there. It's not like they're gonna miss us.
He climbs out of the car. Interior shield helicarrier, bridge, day. The bridge is filled with shield agents racing around in full emergency status. Fury slams his fist down on a panel, causing nearby techies to jump in their seats. Bruce Banner stands behind him in full scientist mode, lab coat and all.
It came from where?
Well, we haven't figured it out exactly, but it seems to be from an alternate reality.
Alternate? Why can't anything ever be simple?
Do you think it may be the start of some sort of invasion?
The thought had occurred to me, Doctor.
He turns to Agent Hill.
Oh, who's our parallel universe guy?
Interior shield helicarrier, lab, day. Scientists work on various technologies at their individual stations in the cavernous laboratory in the bowels of the helicarrier. They work individually and in groups on all types of machines and experiments. Fury enters with Banner in tow, and his sense of urgency belies his typical demeanor.
Dr. Richard Reed.
Dr. Reed, 40s, disheveled genius type, looks startled at his name being called, especially by Fury. He spins around in his chair and jumps out of his seat.
Director Fury.
Good. You know my name. Then you know I wouldn't be down here unless it was very important. Planet-wide threat. Important.
Yes, sir.
I need to know about parallel universes. And I need you to be brief and use words even an old soldier like me can understand.
Dr. Reed's deer in headlights look only lasts a moment. He brings up a diagram on his huge monitor, then launches into full geek mode.
Okay, so theoretically, there are millions, billions of universes that exist alongside our own, and more being created each time there are two or more ways in which something can happen. Some are very close to ours with only minor differences, while others are completely divergent in nearly every way.
And how close are these universes?
Well, that's complicated. In some ways, they're all right here, sharing the same space with us, according to Everett's many worlds theory.
Okay, stop. This is where my head starts to hurt. What about travel between these realities?
A very real possibility. Now, hold on.
He puts up his hand to quiet Banner.
You sound pretty confident about that.
Dr. Reed brings up a schematic of a portal device on his monitor. A simulation shows it connecting to another identical device, creating a tunnel between them.
That's because I've almost succeeded in doing it.
Almost.
You can't be serious. Even Stark isn't close to doing it. We're years away from...
Fury shuts him down again and gives him a look.
Calm down, Doctor. We don't need you overexcited now, do we?
Why didn't you bring me down here if you didn't want me to contribute? I've actually been working with another scientist on the problem. I'm sure our device is ready to start testing soon.
And who might this other scientist be?
Dr. Reed hesitates. He hits a few more keys on his keyboard and an image of a younger version of himself fills the screen.
Actually, he's me.
Exterior Times Square day. The Avengers are having a difficult time containing the Sentry. Giant Man grows to 25 feet and grabs him in his hand to contain him, but he immediately drops Sentry, crying out in pain. Blood spurts from a hole in his hand. He causes the ground to shake as he slumps to his knees, looking like he's about to pass out. Sentry still has the piece of flesh and glove in his mouth as he lands on Wasp and rips into the side of her neck. She shrinks down immediately to escape him and flies away quickly. Luke Cage attempts to grab Sentry's arms from behind to restrain him, but he can barely hold on to him. Even with his super strength, he struggles just to get a grip. Sentry has a smile on his face the entire time. He's enjoying himself. Black Widow leaps to kick Sentry in the face, but he pulls one arm free and catches her foot. He rips a piece of flesh out of her leg with his teeth, then swings her around to hit Luke Cage. As Cage lets go to catch Widow, Sentry tears a chunk out of his arm with his teeth. Ms. Marvel attacks next. She hits him in the face several times with her powerful fists, but he barely notices. Sentry grabs her by the sides of the face and kisses her, ripping away her lips as he pulls away. Iron Man and Thor help Colonel America get back on his feet.
He's kicking our asses. What's the plan?
Colonel America turns to Iron Man, but he's a zombie now. Pale, gray skin, hollow eyes, yellow teeth, and black gums bared through peeled back, cracked lips.
We eat.
Exterior, Manhattan Alley, day. Danny's car stops at the end of the alley. Traffic is even worse on the street in front of him.
Smooth, Dad. What now?
There's no room to turn around. Danny tries backing through the alley, but he's not very good at it.
Watch out!
He slams his rear bumper into a dumpster and smashes his taillight.
Damn it.
Danny gets out of the car to check the damage, frustrated at himself. He hears shouting and screaming coming from the street and looks over, curious. Mindy rolls down the window.
What's going on?
I'm not sure.
People run by, all of them scared and looking behind them. Exterior, Times Square, day. Chaos. Hundreds of terrified people run through the streets as superhero zombies chase after them, devouring everyone they catch. They don't leave enough of most of the civilians' bodies for them to become zombies themselves. Zombie Hawkeye shoots arrows at a hipster who's trying to run away, pinning him to the side of a building. He takes his time and licks his cracked lips while walking over to him.
I guess I'll eat around the beard.
He opens wide and tears into his screaming victim's forehead with his teeth. The few heroes who aren't yet infected try to fight off the zombies, but it's a losing battle. All it takes is one bite to turn someone to the other side. Thor swings his hammer at zombie Luke Cage, who blocks it with his arm. Thor is at a disadvantage since he has to avoid Cage's teeth while fighting. In between each blow, Cage tries to get a bite in, but Thor blocks it. Thor starts to go into berserker mode as he blocks Cage's attacks and tries to inflict his own damage. Finally, Thor is able to slam Cage hard with his hammer, flinging him into the side of a building. Just then, a zombified Scarlet Witch starts a spell behind Thor. Frustrated and enraged, Thor brings up his arm and her head explodes as he brings his hammer down on it. He immediately realizes what he's done and his expression is filled with remorse, even though she was a zombie.
I am sorry, my friend.
Quicksilver races around trying to pull people away from the zombies before they're bitten. As he stops to grab someone away from Colonel America, he sees his sister's headless body collapse to the ground. Hawkeye takes advantage of the opening and shoots him with a stun arrow. Colonel America and Hawkeye grab Quicksilver together, and each of them bites into an arm. Iron Man swats at Zombie Wasp as she tries to enter his armor. Through his eye slits, she manages to shoot her stinger blasts before he can close them, and he's blinded. He blasts higher into the sky to get away. Thor spins his hammer and joins Iron Man high in the sky, afraid of killing any more of his friends. Black Panther leaps around on Zombie Giant Man's head as the infected Goliath tries to grab hold of him. Other superheroes continue to show up to join in the battle. Spider-Man, Daredevil, Nova, Black Knight, Elektra, Mockingbird, Falcon, Iron Fist, and more. The Falcon lifts zombie Black Widow into the air by the back of her costume. She swings her legs up and wraps them around his neck and bites into him, causing him to fly into the side of a building, then plummet to the ground. Spider-Man leaps at Colonel America, who is eating another civilian. As the two great combatants engage in a fighting extravaganza, neither one able to get a good blow in. Finally, Spider-Man uses his web to swing the Colonel into a light pole head first, cracking his skull open. This freaks out Spidey, but the Star-Spangled Zombie just smiles at him and smashes him in the face with his shield.
Don't worry. Only stings for a minute.
Colonel America grabs the stunned Spider-Man and rips a chunk out of his chest. Exterior Manhattan Alley, day. Mindy tries to get out of their car as they see even more panicked people running through the streets on both sides.
Stay in the car.
But
Just do it.
Mindy gets back into the car and sulks as Danny gets closer to the street to see what's happening. The scene takes on a surreal quality as people trample one another to get away. He notices a few superheroes fly by, grabbing people from the crowd and pulling them into the sky. He watches in horror as zombie Tigra takes down a young woman and tears her to pieces, stuffing her mouth full of the woman's entrails. Tigra suddenly slows down and looks up at him with her hollow eyes, blood and guts dripping from her necrotized mouth, and grins.
you look like you make a tasty dessert.
Interior S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier, lab, day. While Banner is shocked by Dr. Reed's revelation, Fury has other concerns.
You've been in contact with yourself from another dimension and you didn't think you should bring it to my attention?
Dr. Reed is completely flustered.
But I mentioned it in my monthly report several times, in fact.
I don't read those goddamn reports. Think I have time for that? You make a breakthrough of this magnitude, you bring it to my attention. Directly and immediately.
He raises his voice so all of the other scientists can hear him.
Everybody hear that? Make any world-changing discoveries in the future and you need to let me know. Assuming there is a future. Clear?
The scientists meekly nod their heads and mumble in agreement.
Go on, Doctor.
He's building a portal on his side, and I'm building one on ours. Even though he's younger, he's exceptionally brilliant. Even smarter than, well, me. He figured things out that I know I never would have come up with on my own.
I need to talk to this person. Show me what you've got.
Exterior Manhattan Bank, day. The wrecking crew, wrecker, bulldozer, pile driver, and Thunderball, exit a bank they've just robbed through the wall, as is their habit. They're now construction workers from earlier, only wearing masks now. Passers-by don't even notice what would ordinarily be a crazy scene as they run by as fast as they can.
I was expecting a warm NYPD welcome out here. What gives?
Maybe they're busy with something else.
Pile driver points toward the smoke rising from the direction of Times Square and the masses of people running down the street.
What's going on over there?
Who cares? As long as everyone's too busy to worry about us.
Lucky us.
Maybe we ought to knock over a few more banks while we have the chance.
Thunderball continues to stare at the smoke and chaos.
Guys, maybe we should...
Freeze!
They turn to see Officer Kelly Ridge pointing a pistol at them with one hand and holding up her badge with the other.
They send you to arrest us? Alone, you must be really good, honey.
I was on my way to the scene of whatever that is and happened to spot you. Just drop the money and your weapons.
They all start laughing.
Ain't gonna happen, sweetheart.
She cocks her weapon.
I will shoot.
Wrecker opens his arms wide and walks toward her.
Go ahead.
Flint finally catches up to her, out of breath, holding his sidearm on Wrecker as well. Kelly glances at him, annoyed.
A little further than I realized.
An old geezer and a chick, NYPD's finest, I'm sure. But you still need to get out of our way or we'll clear you out of the way.
You're under arrest, Bert.
Wrecker hits Flint with his magic crowbar and the detective falls to his knees.
And that was just a tap.
Kelly kneels down next to her partner on one knee.
Flint, can you move?
I think.
He tries to stand up, but completely collapses to the ground instead. Kelly raises her weapon at Wrecker again.
Stay right there, you son of a bitch.
She tries to call in for an ambulance, but she can't get a signal.
So help me if he dies.
Enough fun, I'm done with this.
Wrecker moves to strike her with his crowbar, but Thunderball grabs his arm and stops him.
Don't.
What is your...
Spider-Man swings in and lands in between Officer Ridge and the wrecking crew, the bottom half of his mask torn off. Wrecker points his glowing crowbar at him.
You ain't gonna do much better than they did against us, bud guy.
What are you gonna do? Flip around until we die of boredom?
Wrecker, pile driver, and bulldozer laugh. Spider-Man smiles with his yellow, blood-stained teeth.
We'll see.
They stop laughing when they see Spidey's necrotized mouth and teeth. He flips over Wrecker's head and grabs onto his back, then sinks his teeth into the back of his neck. Wrecker screams. The other members of the crew's jaws drop as Spider-Man pulls the flesh and muscle off with his teeth.
What the fuck?
Spider-Man leaps over to Bulldozer and grabs him by the waist, tearing into his stomach. Kelly shoots at Spider-Man, but he just shrugs off the bullets.
What's wrong? Don't you want to see them brought to justice?
Not like this.
Maybe I can change your mind.
Spider-Man leaps toward her, but Thunderball's wrecking ball smashes into him, throwing him hard into the side of the building. Wrecker and Bulldozer take down Pile Driver together and start gnawing on him.
We need to go.
What about my partner?
Spider-Man struggles to get up over by the building. More super zombies appear in the crowds of people, tearing them apart. Thunderball throws Flint over his shoulder.
Follow me.
Thunderball grabs Kelly and they run away. Exterior, Manhattan Street, day. Looters smash store windows and grab what they can as thousands of people run by in a panic.
It's payday, bro. You said it. Ain't nobody paying attention right now.
A shot rings out and looter number 1 falls to the ground, screaming, blood spurting from his kneecap. The Punisher points his weapon at looter number 2, who drops everything he's trying to carry and puts his hands up.
Please, man. We're just...
Shut up. What the hell's wrong with you, scum? The world's going to hell and you decide it's time to go shopping?
Screw you! We...
Blam! Punisher shoots him in the other kneecap and he screams even more.
I'm sorry. Please don't shoot me.
I suggest you start putting everything back. Now.
Interior S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier lab, day. A S.H.I.E.L.D. agent enters the lab and runs up to Fury, waving a tablet.
Sir, you're...
In the middle of something important, Agent.
I understand that, but you really have to see this.
The agent hands Fury the tablet. When he reads the information, he looks like he's going to be sick.
What is it?
Fury looks at Banner, considering.
Doctor, I'm going to need you to assure me that you're going to stay calm.
Banner sighs. He's obviously fed up with everyone saying that every time something happens.
I understand your concern, but you can't keep babying me.
He gestures toward 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. guards standing by the door.
And don't think I haven't noticed that there's always a couple goons around me either.
Fury hands him the tablet. The color leaves Banner's face as he looks at the information.
Okay, so in this particular case, I may need to take another anxiety pill. Maybe 10. What is it?
The being that crashed in Manhattan said some kind of virus. He's already infected most of the Avengers.
It seems to be targeting superpowered beings, turning them into creatures.
Oh, hell, just say it, Banner. It looks like we're dealing with zombies. They're eating folks. Lots of them.
Eating? Does this mean you want to hold off on...
No. I need to know as much as I can in order to fight this thing.
Dr. Reed escorts Fury and Banner to the prototype interdimensional portal.
We're far enough along that we can establish an audio-visual connection.
He inputs some data into a control tablet attached to the device, and it hums as it powers on. After a few seconds, a similar lab appears in the portal with a younger Dr. Reed, 20s, working in the background.
Why is he so much younger than you?
Well, like I said, some things are the same, some aren't. Could be time moves at a different speed, or people age differently. Maybe you were just born earlier.
When young Dr. Reed sees that the portal has been activated, he approaches. His voice sounds distorted as it comes through the portal.
Hello, Doctor? Doctor, my boss has some questions for you, if that's okay.
Young Dr. Reed looks at Fury.
Of course. Fire away, Colonel.
General.
Sorry, our Nick Fury.
We had a superpowered being come through an interdimensional portal. Did he come from your side?
Young Reed looks genuinely surprised.
No, sir. I don't believe that's possible. When did this happen?
Fury looks at his watch, but Banner answers.
Less than an hour ago. He brought in some kind of contagion. Turns people rabid. Dr. Banner? Yes. You know me? I know a Dr. Banner. He has issues.
Fury gives Banner an amused look.
You mean anger issues? We're probably part of the same club.
Let's save the small talk for after we've solved the extinction level event that's going on right now. It looks like the infected are only targeting superpowered beings. Everyone else they completely devour.
He looks back and forth between the two Dr. Reeds.
Do either of you have any idea where Patient Zero might have originated?
Both scientists shake their heads.
We need to find out if there's a way to stop this. Whoever is on the other side may have figured it out.
I believe they did.
You do?
Absolutely. Their solution was to send him to you.
Exterior, Manhattan Alley, day. Danny and Mindy hide in their car as zombie Tigra claws at the windows, trying to break them. There are no longer any people running through the streets in the area. Some managed to escape. Most are already dead. Interior, Danny's car, day. Danny has his arms around Mindy in the back seat as far away from Tigra as they can get.
What the hell is that thing?
I don't know, some kind of monster. I think there's more of them.
Dad, what are we gonna do?
Exterior, Manhattan Alley, day. The giant wrecking ball flies through the air, slamming into Tigra and sending her into a wall where it completely pulverizes her. Kelly opens the car door and Mindy cowers from her. Kelly shows them her badge.
I'm a police officer. Come with us. This area is overrun with the infected.
Mindy and Danny hesitantly climb out of the car. Thunderball approaches with his weapon retrieved.
Who's this?
Dr. Elliot Franklin. I'll try to protect you, but we need to be careful. And we need to hurry.
Mindy looks the muscular, costumed supercriminal up and down.
You don't look like any doctor I've ever seen.
I hold PhDs in physics and chemistry.
Thunderball looks at Danny.
Didn't you teach her not to judge a book by its cover?
They hear a noise coming from the other side of the car. Thunderball walks over and sees that Tigra is struggling to get up, even though every bone in her body has been crushed to powder. As the others watch in horror, he lifts his demolition ball and brings it down on her head, smashing it like a ripe pumpkin.
He kind of left out the part where he fights superheroes and robs banks. Oh, and calls himself Thunderball.
Mindy snickers.
Really? You're being judgmental at a time like this?
Sorry, I thought it might be important for them to know who they're dealing with.
He scowls at her as he puts the unconscious Detective Flint back over his shoulder.
What's wrong with him?
He had an argument with a magic crowbar and lost.
Danny and Mindy look completely confused.
Look, we need to find a place to lie low until we can figure out a way to get away from here. Assuming there's still any place to get away to.
My daughter's sick. She needs her medication.
Thunderball gives Kelly an exasperated look.
I'm not that kind of doctor.
I understand that, but wherever we go, we need to stop somewhere and get her medicine.
Don't worry, I'm on it.
Exterior, Manhattan Street, day. The zombie horde works its way through the streets, even more superheroes added to its numbers. Some of them shamble around due to injuries that are never going to heal, but most of them are still in good shape, other than the bite or two that turned them into a zombie. The city is so crowded with stalled vehicles and thousands of people stampeding together that nobody can escape. Buildings are on fire or crumbling down. The bridges are destroyed. New York is like a war zone, or worse. The sentry hovers above the scene, his gruesome face stretched by a wide smile as he admires his handiwork. He takes off into the sky at super speed. Colonel America leads the zombie parade, knocking people down with his shield, then ripping into them with his teeth. Quicksilver zips through crowds of people at super speed, eating them so fast that they appear to turn to skeletons instantaneously. Ms. Marvel swoops down from above and grabs people as they run away, then eats them in the air, sometimes tearing them in half in the process. Luke Cage rips heads off and shoves his face in to get the brains. Giant Man grabs people off of rooftops and through windows and throws them into his mouth, chewing them whole. Wasp flies into people's mouths or ears and eats them from the inside out.
Listen up. At this rate, we're going to run out of food in the city soon.
The zombies stop and listen to their leader.
Those who can fly or move at super speed need to move on ahead. It's time to spread out.
Sounds like a plan.
The colonel sees a normal zombie staggering around and tosses his shield, decapitating it. Its head falls to the ground, but it continues to move its mouth.
And try to make sure you don't leave enough for them to turn. We don't need the competition for our food supply. Not to mention, in case you haven't noticed, brainstems are delicious.
Interior Peter Parker's apartment, day. Mary Jane paces the apartment as Aunt May sits on the sofa watching the chaos on the news. Spider-Man opens the window from the outside and perches on the sill, his mask and costume dirty and torn.
Peter!
Thank goodness you're here, dear. We were so...
Peter smiles with his zombified grin. Mary Jane senses something is wrong and stands in front of Aunt May protectively.
Peter? Are you okay?
Never better.
He leaps at Mary Jane with a growl and both women scream. Exterior, sky above Manhattan, day. Iron Man and Thor, still uninfected, fly toward the shield helicarrier. Zombie Nova shoots toward them and Iron Man blasts him with his repulsor rays. Nova veers off course and flies straight into a skyscraper below. Zombie Falcon flies at Thor.
Stay back, my winged friend. I have no desire to harm any more fellow teammates.
Falcon keeps coming faster, his teeth bared.
I say thee nay.
The Thunder God smashes him with his hammer and he slams into the ground hundreds of feet below.
It's no use. We need to talk to Fury and formulate a strategy. I can't seem to contact the helicarrier. There's some kind of interference.
Those people.
I know, but it's a lost cause to try and save them. It's time to stop worrying about saving individuals and instead start figuring out how to save the rest of the world.
Exterior Manhattan Hospital, day. Thunderball and his group approach a hospital while a few stragglers continue to run past them. The automatic sliding doors aren't working because the electricity is out. Thunderball forces the doors apart with very little effort. Interior Manhattan Hospital, day. The hospital is completely trashed. Dead, half-eaten bodies litter the floor, some of them trying to get up. The group is terrified, especially Mindy.
Stay close together. We need to find bandages for Flint here, as well as Mindy's medication.
Franklin!
They turn around and the rest of the wrecking crew, now zombified, stand behind them in the lobby.
Did you really think you could lose us that easily?
Thunderball's head drops.
I do not need this right now.
Exterior shield helicarrier, day. As Iron Man and Thor approach the helicarrier, dozens of shield soldiers line up on the flight deck with weapons pointed at them.
Relax, we're still us.
They land on the flight deck.
We'll need to check to make sure you haven't been bitten.
Understood.
Iron Man flips up the faceplate on his helmet.
Where's Fury?
Exterior Manhattan Street, day. Giant Man stalks off on his own down a deserted street that looks like it's been firebombed. He opens his fist to reveal an unconscious Black Panther in the palm of his hand. He shrinks down to about 12 feet and carries Panther over his shoulder. The building he moves toward has a sign out front saying, PIM Laboratories. The building is still in fairly decent shape compared to those around it. It's obviously been built to withstand more than a normal amount of punishment. He punches a code into a keypad next to a delivery door. Interior, Manhattan Hospital, day. Thunderball sees a wheelchair nearby and places Flint in it. He speaks to Kelly quietly.
Get the rest of the group out of here. Go out the back. I'll hold them off.
But what about...
Please, there's no time to argue about this.
Kelly pushes Flint away in the wheelchair and Danny and Mindy follow.
You really think you can handle all three of us, Franklin?
Thunderball spins his wrecking ball.
Piece of cake.
Exterior, Manhattan Street, day. The crowds of people have disappeared, leaving only the zombies eating whatever leftovers they can find in the street. Colonel America, Wasp, Black Widow, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, and Hawkeye are picking through the area. Colonel America looks at an arm he is gnawing on and shakes his head.
Stop! What are we doing?
The other zombie superheroes stop and look at him like he's an idiot.
We're eating.
Look at what we're doing. The pain, the hunger, it's gone for now.
But it comes back so soon. We have to keep eating.
We're supposed to be heroes. How did it come to this?
If you want the rest of yours, I'll be happy to finish it off for you.
Spider-Man throws the hunk of meat he'd been devouring and covers his face.
He's right. What have we done? Mary Jane, Aunt May. We should kill ourselves before we cause any more damage.
This happens when you start to get full. Wait until you get hungry again, and it'll pass.
No, we're thinking clearly now. We need to figure out what to do to stop ourselves. We can find a cure.
Why?
We need to make up for what we've done.
We've gone too far already. There's no way we can redeem ourselves.
Besides, the way the others are spreading the infection, the rest of the world will be as empty as this place in a few days, maybe even sooner.
Quicksilver eats 1,000 times more than any of us. He's the problem.
I'm sure Pietro's halfway to Shanghai by now.
It doesn't matter whether it's tomorrow or next week. What are we going to do when we run out of food?
Interior Manhattan Hospital, lobby, day. Wrecker, pile driver, and bulldozer all attack Thunderball at the same time. Thunderball swings his wrecking ball and hits Wrecker, smashing his face in and knocking him to the floor. Pile driver and bulldozer each grab one of his arms and try to bite him. He swings them together, then tosses them into the wall, which they both bust through. Thunderball climbs through the hole in the wall, and they catch him by surprise by already being back on their feet. They run into him and force him back through another wall. Interior Manhattan Hospital, hallway, day. Kelly quickly pushes Flint along in the wheelchair, while Danny and Mindy follow close behind. The building rumbles as if there's an earthquake.
Where do you think they keep the medication?
I don't think we have time for that, honey.
But Dad,
I think your dad's right, Mindy. I'm not sure we're going to make it out of this building before it comes down as it is.
The windows next to them crack as the building takes more damage from the battle going on in the lobby. Interior Manhattan Hospital, lobby, day. Thunderball barely stands up in time as bulldozer and pile driver run at him from both sides. He swings his wrecking ball in front of him, and the momentum quickly pulls him out of the way. The two teammates run into each other at full speed, literally head on. Pile driver's head smashes open like a watermelon since bulldozer wears a reinforced helmet. He falls to the floor.
Koleski!
While bulldozer is distracted by his friend's demise, Thunderball swings his wrecking ball at his lower back. He basically snaps in half.
You fellas never were very bright, were you?
Interior Manhattan Hospital, hallway, day. Kelly leads the rest of the group of survivors out the exit door just as the ceiling starts to come down. Exterior Manhattan Hospital, day. The group makes it out to the parking lot on the other side of the hospital. Kelly looks worried as she looks back in the direction of the lobby. Suddenly, zombie Ms. Marvel swoops down out of the air, grabbing Flint out of the wheelchair.
Meals on Wheels. Thanks.
No!
Kelly pulls out her sidearm and fires off a couple of shots at Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel starts tearing into Flint as she flies away.
Tastes like I just got this one just in time.
Kelly runs across the parking lot trying to keep up. The zombie superheroine quickly disappears over nearby buildings.
Damn it.
Kelly walks back to the others, out of breath, and falls to her knees, shaking her head.
I can't do this. I can't.
Detective Ridge, I think we should get out of here. She could be back.
And she could bring others. We're not safe here.
But what about Dr. Franklin?
Interior Manhattan Hospital, lobby, day. The ceiling is caving in, and Thunderball heads for the exit. Before he can get out, Wrecker gets back up, despite the top of his face being completely caved in, and faces Thunderball.
You got a pretty good shot in, Franklin.
Thunderball is incredulous.
You've got to be kidding me.
He swings his ball again and throws it. Wrecker ducks, and it flies past his head.
Nice try, loser. You missed.
Not really.
The giant demolition ball comes back around like a boomerang and literally takes Wrecker's head off. His body collapses as his head sails across the lobby and bounces off the far wall. Thunderball, exhausted, walks over to Wrecker's head. The eyes are still open, and the mouth still moves.
I always wanted to tell you, boss. You talk way too much.
Thunderball stomps on his head and completely destroys it. As he exits the hospital, the building starts to completely come down. Exterior Manhattan Hospital, day. Thunderball comes out of the hospital, dragging his demolition ball behind him. Kelly runs up and hugs him.
You did it. You're alive.
The building continues to collapse behind them. Thunderball grabs Kelly and moves her a safe distance away.
Wow.
They didn't call us the wrecking crew for nothing. I'm glad you made it out okay.
He sees Danny and Mindy approaching.
Where's Detective Flint?
Exterior Manhattan rooftop, day. The Punisher hides in the shadows on a rooftop near the hospital and watches Ms. Marvel fly overhead with her meal. He looks down at the parking lot below and sees Thunderball and his group. Almost too late, he turns as zombie Daredevil attacks him. They engage in hand-to-hand combat, but Daredevil has lost a step as his body has started to decompose. After a couple of near misses from Daredevil's teeth, Punisher pulls a knife from a sheath in his boot and plunges it into the eye of the former Man Without Fear. Daredevil stops moving. Punisher tosses Daredevil's body over the side of the building. He rushes back over to the side of the rooftop where he spotted the others, but they're gone. Interior S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier Bridge Day. Fury and Banner have just finished updating Iron Man and Thor on the current situation, along with Agent Hill. Iron Man's helmet is off as he takes in the news.
And this alternate universe scientist doesn't have any more information.
No. At least he claims he doesn't.
You don't trust him.
I don't trust anybody until they earn it. All I know is Patient Zero traveled through a portal from another dimension just as these guys were preparing to test a device that's meant to do just that.
What's next?
We're trying to evacuate everyone we can and bring them up here, but we can only hold so many.
Plus, many of our teams don't come back. We assume they're being taken down by the infected. It's hard to know for sure since communication is so affected in this area.
It's only a matter of time before they find their way up here looking for food.
Not only are the infected spreading across the country, we also have reports that Patient Zero has been flying at super speed to all of the major cities on Earth and doing the same thing he did right here in New York.
How long do you think we have?
Judging by the rate superpowered beings are being infected and devouring everyone else, I'd say we'd have less than 48 hours before virtually everyone on Earth is either dead or undead, I suppose.
How close are we to a cure for this thing?
Fury and Banner look at each other.
We're not. We have a few specimens we've been experimenting on. So far, we've basically made no progress.
There is a commotion at one of the bridge stations. A techie talks into his helmet.
What is it?
Sir, something's approaching the flight deck. Fast. We may have a breach.
Exterior S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier Flight Deck Day. A gray and silver streak flies at the helicarrier like a cannonball. Before it can be shot down, it skids onto the flight deck and rolls to a stop. As S.H.I.E.L.D. soldiers surround it with weapons drawn, it stands up and reveals itself to be War Machine with a zombie in its arms. The zombie, wearing a dark blue suit and a tie, claws at War Machine's armor as he tries to hold on to it. Fury, Iron Man, Banner, Thor, and Hill get up to the flight deck just as the zombie grabs at War Machine's helmet and tries to remove it. War Machine finally extends the cannons on his back and aims them at the zombie. He fires and it totally disintegrates the zombie's head. Its headless body falls to the ground. The faceplate on the helmet flips up and he salutes Director Fury.
Colonel James Rhodes, reporting for duty, sir.
Rhodes? What the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be protecting the President of the United States!
Rhodes gestures at the dead zombie.
That was the president, sir. I just came from Washington. Everyone there is either infected or gone. The only thing that saved me was my armor.
Everyone is shocked.
Sir, I believe you're now the highest-ranking government official not already affected by the outbreak.
Exterior, Manhattan Pharmacy, Day. Thunderball, Kelly, Mindy, and Danny exit a pharmacy. They have a few supplies with them, such as snacks and drinks.
I'm sorry, honey. I guess the pharmacies were one of the first places to be ransacked once the panic started.
We'll find one that has your medication soon.
An ordinary zombie shambles toward them from out of an alley. Thunderball looks down, reluctant to keep killing. Finally, he swings his wrecking ball and puts it out of its misery.
For now, we need a place to hide. We're not going to last long out here in the open.
Any ideas?
Thunderball looks at the entrance to a subway station.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I do have one.
Interior, S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier, Lab, Night. Dr. Reed finishes tinkering with the portal device with the help of Tony Stark and Bruce Banner.
I think it's ready.
Let's hope so.
Dr. Reed works on a control tablet connected to the device, then presses one last button.
Here goes.
The device hums as it powers on. The area inside the portal begins to glow, then becomes like a mirror. The other universe appears inside the portal.
So far, so good.
The humming turns to a high-pitched whine. Smoke starts to appear and sparks fly from the machine.
Shut it down!
No, it might still work.
An electrical current shoots out of the portal and zaps Banner, shocking him.
Ow!
Banner starts breathing heavily as his eyes turn bright green. Everyone is on edge, including two nearby guards who ready their weapons. Stark puts his hands up and motions for them to lower their weapons.
Bruce, are you okay? Talk to me, buddy.
Banner gives a slight nod. His breathing becomes more measured as he calms down slowly.
Shut that thing down. Do you have any idea what you almost caused?
Maybe he shouldn't be here if he's so dangerous.
Dr. Reed shuts down the machine and storms off.
Bruce,
Maybe he's right. Maybe I should be locked up somewhere to keep everyone safe.
Banner walks off. Tony looks at the ruined device.
does this mean nobody's gonna help me fix this thing?
Interior subway tunnel, night. Thunderball, Kelly, Mindy, and Danny sit in a subway tunnel with trains blocking both ends, eating the snacks they got from the pharmacy earlier.
So, tell me something. How'd you end up as a costumed supervillain?
It's a long story.
Kelly looks around.
I don't see anything that we need to be doing right now. I'm being deprived of my reality shows. I need you to tell me a story.
Thunderball thinks for a moment.
I was a scientist, a good one. My boss at the company where I worked started taking credit for my inventions, as well as making all the money from them. When I complained to him, he said that anything I did while I worked for the company belonged to the company. Then he fired me.
Kelly stops eating and puts a hand on his arm.
I'm sorry.
So I went back to the offices one night. I had been drinking. I broke in and stole back what was rightfully mine. And he called the police, had me arrested. The company had connections all over the place. They made sure I couldn't make bail, that I had a crappy public defender, and that the judge threw the book at me. I ended up in prison for a long, long time.
He stands up and turns away.
Then, one night, an opportunity came up. Wrecker had recruited the other two guys as muscle to help him escape. He wanted someone with brains to help out also. That stupid crowbar of his, somehow it got enchanted with an Asgardian spell. All four of us held on to it during a storm, and when lightning struck, it gave us all powers.
What kind of powers?
Super strength, invulnerability, and that wrecking ball is enchanted. It returns to me when I throw it, like Thor's hammer.
Kelly smiles as she eats a chip.
Ah, so now you think you're Thor.
Hey, I've gone toe-to-toe with the guy.
And won?
Well, no, but I held my own, sort of.
Okay, so you tried to steal back your inventions and you escaped from prison. That doesn't seem so bad.
Well, after that, I kind of held the city ransom with one of my inventions, a bomb.
Now that I remember. Sounds like those other guys were a bad influence.
I wouldn't have actually set the bomb off, but I felt like I had nothing to live for. I got to a point of no return.
Well, you're certainly making up for it now.
Speaking of which, I need to go find another pharmacy for Mindy.
Be careful.
Now you're worried about the bad guy?
Kelly smiles.
Somebody has to protect us from the zombie horde. Might as well be you, right?
Thunderball smiles back as he leaves. Interior, Hank Pym's lab, night. Black Panther lies strapped down on an operating table in Pym's lab. He regains consciousness and looks around the room. Giant Man is normal-sized, standing in the corner with his back to Panther. He's making sounds like he's eating a big meal.
Hank, what are you doing? Why am I here?
Giant Man turns around, his mouth covered in blood and gore.
Well, I'm sorry, T'Challa, I truly am, but the hunger.
As Giant Man turns around, he has what looks like a half-eaten leg in his hand.
I promise I'll make it as painless as I can. I'll keep you sedated, but I need to save something for when everything else is gone. I need to keep feeding to keep my head clear, but we're just going through the food supply so fast.
He faces his former teammate, his zombified face actually showing signs of remorse.
Please understand, it's the only way I can try to figure out how to end this. Eating a little at a time to keep the hunger at bay while I search for a cure.
What are you?
Black Panther looks down and sees that the bottom half of his right leg has been cut off and is neatly sewn up and bandaged. He screams in horror. Interior, shield helicarrier, lab, night. Dr. Reed, Tony Stark, and Bruce Banner dissect a zombie corpse wearing special equipment and hazmat suits. Other shield scientists work in the background doing complicated scientist stuff. They slice off pieces of the zombified carcass, look at them under microscopes, and run tests on them while they talk.
There really is a certain beauty to the way these things function, isn't there? I don't know if you put it that way. Mostly they're still human. It's just their physiology has been altered so that they no longer need their organs to function. They require very little energy that way. It's really quite efficient.
Yeah, in the same way that sharks are efficient killing machines.
Well, in some ways, they're very much like sharks. But the thing that fascinates me the most is how their higher level thinking processes remain intact, even though the drive to kill and eat living flesh overrides everything else.
You're starting to sound like a fan.
Well, think about it. The virus targets superpowered beings and makes them virtually immortal. It's really the next stage in evolution. How could you not admire it?
Stark and Banner exchange concerned looks. Exterior Manhattan Street, night. A black van speeds through the dark streets, maneuvering between abandoned vehicles, driving up on the sidewalk and over the median. In addition to all the vehicles, the streets are littered with skeletons and mostly eaten corpses. The van runs over a zombie superhero that isn't paying attention, and it sticks to the front grille. The van finally gets stuck in the midst of dozens of cars and trucks. No way it can move forward. The Punisher gets out of the van. He pulls out a pistol and walks around to the front, where the zombie is still moving despite being splayed all over the hood like a bug on a windshield. He shoots it in the head, spraying brains all over the front of the van. He opens the side door, slings various weapons around his back, and holsters more to his waist and legs. A couple of zombies rush towards him, and he shoots them both in the face without a second thought. He approaches another zombie that's crouched over a body, feasting on it. He takes out his knife and stabs it in the brainstem, and it collapses. As he wipes the gore off his knife with the dead zombie's cape, he notices someone else on the street. Thunderball comes out of a pharmacy and disappears down the steps to a subway station. Punisher follows him. Interior, Hank Pym's lab, night. Giant Man checks on Black Panther, who appears to be unconscious. He's now missing his right forearm, in addition to the bottom part of his right leg. Giant Man pulls on a pair of surgical gloves and grabs a bone saw. Panther opens his eyes.
Damn, the sedative must be wearing off again.
Panther's voice is barely a whisper.
Hank. T'Challa, I'm so sorry. I can't help myself.
Kill me.
What the hell is this?
Giant Man turns around to see Wasp standing in the doorway to his lab.
You're holding out on me? How could you do that? Do you know how scarce food is out there right now?
Please, Janet. Nobody knows about this. Nobody. It's just part of my plan to...
Move out of my way. I'm hungry.
Giant Man blocks her from getting near Black Panther.
Stay away from him. The rest of you lack the restraint for this. You'll eat him right away.
We can split him, but there's no way you're keeping him for yourself.
I can't have that. I need him.
Wasp zaps him with her stinger blast. He grows tall enough that he can't fit in the high-ceilinged room without ducking. He tries to grab her, but she flies out of his reach. Wasp zaps him again, this time in the eyes. He puts his hand over his eyes, blinded. He swings his giant hand around and knocks her out of the air. He feels around on the floor and picks her up in his hand.
Share him, or I tell everyone your little secret.
You know I can't allow that, dear.
He brings her up to his mouth and bites her head off, then spits it back out.
Disgusting.
He vomits from the taste of another zombie.
Ugh. So that's why we don't eat each other.
He looks back at the door. Wasp looks up at him from the floor, still aware, even though she's just a head. Giant Man picks up the head, and it snaps at him.
I'd better make sure you didn't have anyone with you.
Giant Man places Wasp's head down on a counter and moves toward the door.
Oh, and needless to say, I think it's time we took a little relationship break.
He exits the lab. Black Panther notices that his restraints were loosening during the fight between the married former superheroes. He pulls his arm free, then starts removing the other restraint. Interior subway tunnel, night. Thunderball enters the hidden tunnel with the bag from the pharmacy.
Special delivery.
He hands the bag to Mindy.
Thank you.
She gives him a hug, then removes the medication and the syringe that are in the bag. Danny shakes his hand.
I don't know what to say, except thanks.
Don't sweat it.
Kelly approaches, acting flirtatious.
Look at you, saving the day again.
I better be careful. It's starting to become a habit.
He looks down.
I just wish I could have saved Detective.
The clicking of a gun's hammer gets the group's attention. The Punisher enters from behind Thunderball, a pistol pointed at the group.
What do we have here?
Kelly quickly raises her own weapon and points it at the Punisher.
Put it down, little girl. You know who I am. There's no way you'll get the drop on me.
Little, are you kidding me? You're an asshole.
So I've been told.
He walks closer and pulls out another pistol with his other hand.
So, you all criminals or just Mr. Big Metal Ball here?
Seriously? We look like criminals to you?
You are hanging out with part of the Wrecking Crew, one of the most wanted criminal gangs in the city.
Kelly pulls out her badge.
I'm a police detective, and Dr. Franklin saved all of our lives.
What, so I'm supposed to give him a pass because he grew a conscience when the whole world went to hell? Something like that.
Mindy walks in front of Thunderball.
If you want to shoot him, it will have to go through me.
Mindy, no.
He gently moves her to the side.
Look, there aren't a lot of us humans left. We don't need to be killing each other and helping the zombies out.
Punisher considers what he's saying.
Instead of shooting me, why don't you help me keep these folks safe?
I tell you what, I'll let you live since these people need protection, but I'm not going to work together with criminal scum like you.
Thanks, I guess.
Punisher addresses the rest of the group.
Keep your eye on him. He may be helping you now, but I know what he's done, what he's capable of. Be careful.
Punisher starts to walk away.
And don't trust him.
Mindy takes a couple of steps forward and calls after the Punisher.
Why won't you help us?
Punisher doesn't turn around.
These zombies are evil, and they need to be put down. And there are a lot of them.
He keeps walking away.
So many.
Exterior subway station, night. Punisher comes up the steps from the subway station. Zombie Ms. Marvel watches from a rooftop above. He suddenly turns and points his weapon in her direction, but she's hidden behind a chimney. He pauses for a long time, then finally walks away. After he's gone, she flies down and heads for the steps. Interior shield helicarrier, lab, night. Fury meets with Dr. Reed, Tony Stark, and Bruce Banner in the lab.
We've finally been able to get through to other parts of the world, and it isn't pretty.
He brings up a video on a monitor. There are images of Sentry infecting the members of Alpha Flight in Canada, as well as superheroes in Japan, China, the UK, and the rest of Europe.
So it's reached Canada.
It's global now. Why?
My wife. Kids, they're in Toronto.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Reed appears to be despondent.
Any progress on a cure for the virus?
None. Things like this often take months, weeks at a minimum.
Then I'm going to call it. We need to concentrate on getting whoever we can out of here. A cure isn't going to do anyone any good if there's nobody left to give it to.
I'm afraid I have to agree with you. We can't work on both, and the portal device seems like the more realistic goal.
How long do you figure it will take?
The three geniuses exchange concerned looks.
We have three of the smartest people on Earth in the same room, and you guys don't have a clue, do you?
We just have a couple of things we still need to solve. There's no telling how long that might take.
And we're missing some parts. Some of them were fried in the malfunction during the test, and others we'll need to finish the device properly and make sure that doesn't happen again.
And where do you expect to get these parts?
I should have what we need at my lab in Avengers Tower.
Then how about you take Rhodes and get your ass down there while there are still people left to save?
I'd like to go too, sir.
You're out of your freaking mind if you think I'm going to put you into a situation like that. You can help Dr. Reed work on whatever you can to fix the device until those parts get here.
Banner just looks down. Dr. Reed is uncomfortable at the exchange as well.
Well, what are you people waiting for?
Banner and Reed hurry off to the other part of the lab with the portal device. Fury walks with Stark as they exit the lab.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with that boy. It's like he doesn't even remember the damage he does when he gets stressed out and changes.
Oh, he remembers, Nick. He remembers.
Exterior Avengers Tower, night. The building is in much better shape than those around it since it's been built to withstand nearly any attack. Black Panther hides in the shadows watching as the zombie Avengers leave their headquarters following Ms. Marvel. Spider-Man suddenly stops. He turns in Panther's direction, obviously detecting him with his spider sense. He nods in Panther's direction, then moves back into the procession with the rest of the zombies. Hobbling on a makeshift crutch, he carries what looks like a bowling ball bag with him. Interior Avengers Tower, Tony Stark's lab, night. Black Panther lays the bag down and limps over to one of Stark's prototype sets of armor. It's stealth armor, all in black. He pulls off one of the leg sections and brings it over to a work table. Exterior Avengers Tower, roof, night. Iron Man and War Machine descend and land on the roof of the Avengers Tower.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You and me both. Let's get this tech and get the hell out of here.
They cautiously enter the penthouse, looking around as they go. Interior Avengers Tower, night. Iron Man and War Machine flip up their faceplates and quietly make their way through the levels of Avengers Towers.
I thought for sure they'd come here after they ran out of food.
Maybe they found some more somewhere?
They come across a giant photo of the Avengers at an award ceremony. Everyone is smiling and happy. Iron Man stops and stares at it for a moment, then shakes his head and moves on. Interior Avengers Tower, Tony Stark's lab, night. Iron Man fills a couple of specially made backpacks with parts and equipment. The bowling bag on the table moves slightly. War Machine looks over at it, but it's not moving anymore. Iron Man and War Machine help get the packs on one another, and as they leave the room, Iron Man suddenly stops and looks back at the stealth armor.
What is it?
Nothing, I just thought. Never mind.
They leave the room. Moments later, the stealth armor stiffly climbs down from the charging station. The faceplate flips up, revealing Black Panther's face inside. He moves back over to the work table and pulls off the empty right glove. He makes a few adjustments with some tools, then connects it back to the armor. The glove now moves as if his hand is in there. He walks over to the bowling bag and unzips it. He pulls out Wasp's head by its hair, and it snaps at him with its sharp teeth.
You, my friend, are going to be the answer to a cure for this plague.
Exterior Avengers Tower roof night. Iron Man and War Machine make it back up to the roof without any trouble.
It's so strange to see the city so dark.
And empty.
What do you think the New York City in the other universe is like?
I think anything is better than this.
They hear shouting coming from the street, but can't quite make it out.
What's that?
Using the technology in their armor, they see that the streets are filled with zombie superheroes converging on one place from all over the city.
Looks like you were right, Rhodey. They seem to have found someone to eat.
Let's get down there then.
We can't. We have to focus on the big picture and get that device working so we can save the people who have already been rescued.
You can't be serious.
I've never been more serious in my life.
Exterior subway station, night. The zombie horde gathers outside of the subway station where the survivors are hidden.
Are you sure this is the right one?
Positive.
How many are there?
I'm not sure, but any food is better than none.
Interior subway tunnel, night. Thunderball and Kelly sit together while Mindy and Danny sleep on the ground nearby. They jump up as they feel vibrations in the ground. One of the trains blocking the tunnel suddenly moves as zombie Luke Cage lifts it out of the way.
Surprise!
Kelly wakes up Danny and Mindy and they scramble to their feet.
Duck!
Kelly, Mindy, and Danny duck as they turn to see what's happening. Thunderball has lifted the other train behind them and throws it at the zombies coming in through the tunnel. There is a cacophonous sound as the train knocks them all down like bowling pins and pushes them yards down the tunnel. The other three survivors are frozen in shock.
What? I told you I held my own with Thor. Let's go.
They run through the back of the tunnel and up through some stairs in a maintenance corridor. They go through the exit and rush out onto the street. Exterior subway station, night. When they get outside, they discover they're in the middle of the zombie horde surrounded on all sides by dozens of undead superheroes. Thunderball spins his wrecking ball above his head.
Stay behind me.
Kelly pulls out her sidearm as if it will help.
Even you can't take on all of them.
Colonel America pushes through the crowd to face them.
Not much of a meal for all of us, but better than nothing.
Thunderball throws his wrecking ball directly at the Colonel's head. Colonel America tries to duck, but his decomposing body doesn't have the same reflexes as he used to. The ball catches the top of his head, taking off the top of his skull and knocking him to the ground. The wrecking ball returns to Thunderball, and the other zombies hesitate to move. Nobody wants to be the next one to lose his head. Everyone watches as Colonel America stands back up, the top of his brain exposed.
Just for that, I'm going to start with your toes and keep you alive as long as possible while I devour you. Hank?
Giant Man reaches down to grab the survivors. A flash comes from the sky and fries Giant Man's hands. Iron Man and War Machine appear out of nowhere. War Machine's missiles and cannons fire into the crowd, scattering zombies everywhere.
Back off, deadheads!
War Machine grabs hold of Danny and Mindy, and Iron Man grabs Thunderball and Kelly. They blast off into the night sky. Several flying zombies are right behind them, especially Zombie Nova, who's right on their tail.
We're not fast enough when we're carrying people and equipment.
And we can't fight with them in our arms.
Just as Nova is about to catch up to them, lightning comes out of the clear sky and strikes them down. A hammer flies past them and takes out Ms. Marvel. Everyone looks up, and Thor is above them.
Fury believed you may be in need of some assistance, comrades.
Fury was right, as usual.
Thor circles the group, fending off all of the flying zombies and knocking them out of the sky. By the time they approach the helicarrier, their pursuers are all gone. Exterior shield helicarrier, flight deck, night. Iron Man, Thor, and War Machine land on the flight deck of the helicarrier. Thor immediately confronts Thunderball.
I know you, miscreant. What are you doing with these people?
He saved us. We'd have never survived without his help.
Thor still looks at Thunderball suspiciously.
Where's the rest of your band of scoundrels?
Dead.
They were infected. I killed them.
Thor points his hammer at him.
You may have performed valiant deeds this day, villain, but I still have my eye on you.
Thor stalks off the flight deck.
Awkward.
Interior shield helicarrier, corridors, night. Fury walks with the survivors.
I can't believe you were able to survive down there this long. As far as we can tell, there's nobody else left.
It wasn't easy.
Dr. Franklin, my people dug up some intel on you. They used to say you were on par with Bruce Banner when it came to scientific research.
Before everything was stolen from me, yeah.
There's no need to get into that, or what you've done since then. What's important is whether you can help us.
I'll do whatever I can.
Interior shield helicarrier, lab, night. Thunderball and his group enter the lab with Fury. Tony Stark and Bruce Banner work on the portal device.
It's a gateway to a parallel universe. They almost have it working, but there are still a few kinks.
In other words, the last time we turned it on, it almost blew us all up.
Thunderball looks at the device.
Do you have the schematics?
Stark hands him a tablet and he scrolls through.
Ah, I see the problem.
Are you joking? We've been...
No, it's right here.
He starts moving things around on the tablet.
Try this.
He hands it back to Stark. Banner looks on.
Well, I'll be damned. How did we miss that?
I don't know, maybe because we were distracted by zombies and the end of the world.
Probably just needed a fresh set of eyes.
Would you mind lending us a hand?
I'd be happy to, but we haven't had anything but chips and diet soda in the last 14 hours. Can we grab something to eat first?
The break room's right over there, Doctor. It's fully stocked, so get whatever you need. After you four eat, the rest of you will need to go down to the cargo bay where we will have makeshift accommodations for the survivors.
There are others?
Hundreds. Not many considering the population of New York City. But we did what we could.
Interior shield helicarrier, lab break room, night. Thunderball, Kelly, Danny, and Mindy enter the break room. Dr. Reed walks by with a couple of cups of coffee in his hand. He stops when he sees Mindy.
Valerie?
Excuse me?
Dr. Reed shakes his head.
Forgive me. For a moment, you looked just like my daughter. It's just...
He starts shaking and doesn't finish what he's saying.
Excuse me.
He exits the break room quickly.
Wow.
Everyone's under a lot of pressure, I guess.
Yeah, plus not all scientist types are as charming as I am.
Interior shield helicarrier, lab, night. Tony, Stark, and Bruce Banner work on the portal device with Nick Fury looking on.
He's been acting strange. Well, even stranger since he realized his family was gone.
I think that's to be expected, isn't it?
He's a SHIELD agent. He'll do his job until it's done, and then mourn when there's time.
You sure about that, Nick?
Dr. Reed approaches with 2 cups of coffee.
He's back. Let me know if he gets any worse.
Fury walks away, nodding at Dr. Reed as he leaves.
Here you go. To help you keep going.
They accept the drinks.
Mine's decaf, right? Of course. Thanks.
Banner and Stark drink their coffee.
Yeah, I've been thinking more about the virus. Yeah, it's good that we didn't find a cure.
What?
How can you say that? It's no use. We'll never stop it. And maybe we shouldn't. As horrific as it may be, this is obviously the next stage for humanity.
Hey, enough with the crazy talk. I'd hate for us to have to lock you up or something.
Dr. Reed has an insane look in his eyes as he smiles wide at Tony.
Too late.
Stark and Banner drop their coffee cups. Reed starts to laugh hysterically. Tony grabs him by the arms and shakes him.
What did you do?
Surely you're starting to feel it by now.
Banner starts to panic.
What is it?
Stay calm. Bruce, just stay calm.
Tony turns to the 2 shield guards nearby.
I think we may need some help over here.
Everyone looks at Banner, who's obviously starting to transform into the Hulk.
Calm yourself, buddy. Let me give you this tranquilizer.
Banner's eyes have already changed.
I think it's too late for that.
Tony looks at his reflection and sees himself becoming zombified. Banner completely hulks out, and he has signs of zombification as well. He grabs the 2 shield guards by the head and slams them together. Their heads burst like melons. Tony continues to stare at his reflection.
It all makes so much sense now. I can't believe I was fighting it.
Zombie Hulk roars.
Oh, hungry!
He stares at Dr. Reed and smiles through black gums and cracked lips with giant yellow teeth. Dr. Reed stops laughing as he realizes he's not going to be turned, just eaten. The Hulk reaches for him.
Save some for me.
Interior shield helicarrier, bridge, night. Alarms blare all over the helicarrier just as Fury reaches the bridge.
What is it now?
Some kind of commotion down in the lab.
I was just there. What the hell is going on?
Before the comms went down, one of the scientists said something about the Hulk.
Fury rarely gets flustered, but this is one thing he isn't able to handle.
Good Lord.
Interior shield helicarrier lab, night. Tony tries to reason with Hulk, who's chewing on the arm of one of the guards as the other scientists flee the lab.
Listen, we need to make sure you don't destroy this machine. There's plenty to eat all over the helicarrier.
Hulk sees the scientists running through the door.
That's right. Follow the food.
Hulk stomps off after the scientists. Tony smiles and opens the case that contains his armor. Interior shield helicarrier lab break room, night. Thunderball watches through the doorway as Iron Man leaves the lab.
I have to get out there.
Why?
Someone needs to finish that portal so we can get out of here.
Interior shield helicarrier corridors, night. The Hulk rampages through the helicarrier, tearing shield personnel limb from limb. He bites into them and tears off pieces, but because he doesn't finish them all, some of them turn into zombies themselves. They fire every weapon they have at him, but nothing even slows him down. Exterior shield helicarrier flight deck, night. Iron Man prepares to leave the helicarrier.
Tony!
Iron Man turns to face the War Machine.
Go away, Rhodey. I'll deal with you later.
The War Machine armor goes into full battle mode, all weapons extended and pointed at Iron Man.
You'll deal with me now!
Interior shield helicarrier corridors, night. Hulk approaches the bridge and Thor stands in his way.
Halt, Banner. You shall not pass.
Hulk, not puny Banner. Hulk is Hulk!
Hulk rushes forward and tackles Thor. He holds him down and tries to bite his face. Thor holds Hulk by the neck, straining to keep his huge teeth from getting him. Thor manages to throw Hulk off of him, smashing him through a wall at the end of the corridor. Exterior shield helicarrier, night. Iron Man fights War Machine. They fly around the helicarrier in a cat and mouse chase. Tony, the creator of the armor, knows exactly what to do. But War Machine is an expert pilot and is able to outfly him. He's also a master tactician. War Machine blasts several mini-missiles from the arsenal on his back. They follow Iron Man as the Golden Avenger attempts some fancy flying to outdistance them. But he knows how good these heat-seeking missiles really are. He designed them himself. He manages to get 3 of the missiles to collide with one another and detonate, but the last one sneaks through. The missile catches up to his feet and blows the bottom part of his armor off, legs and all. He stares at the smoking stumps, staying aloft with just his hand repulsors.
Not cool, Rhodey. They're not going to be easy to replace.
Neither are all of the innocent people you and your friends are eating, Tony. How can you do that? It's not like you've become mindless monsters like in the movies.
Mindless, no, but we are monsters. I recognize that. The hunger's overwhelming and it's impossible to stop it.
Have you even tried?
It's just too strong. You'll understand soon enough, my friend, as soon as I catch you.
Iron Man uses his hand repulsors and back jets to blast forward at full speed, straight at War Machine. Interior shield helicarrier corridors, night. Thor finally gets the best of Hulk and hammers him toward the stairs leading to the flight deck. Exterior shield helicarrier flight deck, night. Iron Man knocks War Machine down onto the flight deck. He speaks into a comm unit on his wrist.
Mark 9 armor override code, Stark 0918 Gamma.
The War Machine armor freezes. Rhodes can't move, and Iron Man holds him down.
Mark 9, detach.
The armor falls to pieces off of Rhodey's body. Iron Man's faceplate flips up.
Just like lobster. Delicious meat once you crack open the shell.
Rhodey screams as Iron Man bites into his neck. Exterior shield helicarrier flight deck, night. Thor tries to force Hulk off the helicarrier and away from the survivors.
Hulk is hungriest one there is.
Hulk grabs for Thor again and this time gets a hold of him. Thor calls the lightning down from the sky just as Hulk grabs him, and the electricity fries the Hulk. Hulk is burned and blackened and smoke pours off his body, but he's still standing. Enraged, Hulk runs at Thor full speed and slams into him, and they both go over the edge of the helicarrier. Exterior Avengers Tower, roof, night. Iron Man approaches Avengers Tower. Bottom half is the War Machine armor, still functioning even without his legs. The other zombie Avengers see him coming and gather on the roof. Colonel America holds up his hand.
That's far enough, Shellhead. What do you want?
Iron Man lifts his faceplate, revealing his zombified features.
I'm with you now, Colonel.
Wow. Welcome to the club. I guess this is your clubhouse anyways, isn't it?
Thanks, but I actually wanted to invite the rest of you to dinner at the Shield Helicarrier.
There's food, I'm in.
Some, assuming Hulk hasn't already eaten everyone, but there's something even better.
What could possibly be better than more food?
How about a whole new universe to devour?
Exterior Avengers Tower, street, night. Black Panther looks up as a Quinjet takes off from the roof of the building, along with several flying former heroes. He hears a sound from behind him and turns. The Punisher points a powerful rifle at his head.
Who's in there?
Black Panther opens the face mask.
You still you?
Black Panther nods slightly.
What's left of me is still human, yes.
Punisher lowers his rifle.
What's in the bag?
Exterior Shield Helicarrier, night. The zombie superheroes fly toward the helicarrier. Some are in Quinjets, while others who can't fly are being carried by those who can. Ms. Marvel can carry Spider-Man, who shoots a web and swings up as soon as he's close enough. Exterior Shield Helicarrier flight deck, night. Shield soldiers fire at the oncoming zombies, while the autocannons and other weapons are fired at the Quinjets. The zombies just shrug off the bullets, except for the few who are shot through the brainstem and drop out of the sky. The ones who can fly drop their passengers on some of the soldiers, who are quickly torn apart. Some of the flying zombies, such as Ms. Marvel and Falcon, swoop down and grab a soldier to eat. In the commotion, Spider-Man sneaks inside the helicarrier. The first Avengers Quinjet lands on the deck and the rear ramp descends. Colonel America is the first to exit.
Let's go, people. Eat up!
The sky fills with clouds and becomes even darker as the moon is covered. Thunder cracks and lightning flashes as the wind picks up suddenly. Rain pours down in sheets. The zombies stop eating momentarily to look up at the cause of the freak storm. Lightning lights up the night again, and zombie Thor appears in the sky above the helicarrier. He grins and shows his blackened gums and yellow teeth. Colonel America has to shout over the wind and rain.
Nice of you to finally join us.
Interior Shield Helicarrier, night. The zombies work their way through the corridors of the helicarrier. Thor is out front this time, throwing and swinging his hammer. He's an unstoppable killing machine. Along the way, they come across more agents and other personnel and share in eating them. One soldier comes up behind and aims his weapon at the back of Thor's head. A web shoots down from the ceiling, and he screams as he's pulled up to be devoured by Spider-Man.
Surprise!
As the zombies near the bridge, soldiers fire a mounted machine gun with armor-piercing bullets. Unlike normal bullets, these tear through Thor's necrotic skin, but he doesn't miss a beat as he throws his hammer and destroys the weapon. They continue on to their goal. They reach a large set of doors near the bottom of the helicarrier. This is the cargo bay. Iron Man pauses and turns to the others.
This is where the food is. All the survivors they were able to save are being held here. Don't be in too much of a rush. Let's make the food supply last a little while.
Iron Man opens the door. Interior Shield Helicarrier, cargo bay, night. They enter the cargo bay. Looking down from the mezzanine, they see only a huge pile of skeletons. On top of the pile sits Zombie Hulk, 9 on a leg bone.
Hulk! What did you do?
Zombie Hulk roars. He leaps up to the mezzanine and gets in Iron Man's face.
Hulk, hungry!
It's okay, big guy.
I guess we head straight to the interdimensional gateway then. Once we go through, we'll have enough supply for everyone.
Interior Shield Helicarrier corridors, night. Fury, Hill, and about a dozen of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s best soldiers guard the doorway to the lab. They start firing as the zombie superheroes appear, but the bullets do little damage and they keep moving. Ms. Marvel flies toward them, speeding up as she goes.
Last one there's a rotting corpse.
Fury and Hill fire at her together, her head exploding as both shots hit her simultaneously. Her headless body slides to a stop right at their feet.
Activate force field!
Hill taps on a tablet. The air in the corridor shimmers between the zombies and the soldiers. Thor and Hulk move to the front of the group of zombies and start hammering at the force field. It shimmers and makes a zapping sound as they hit it.
How long do you think it will hold?
With those two working on it, 30 seconds, a minute if we're lucky.
I need to go, I'm sorry.
Don't be. We're all just doing our jobs.
You're a good agent, Hill.
Don't you dare start getting sentimental on me now, Fury. Just get the hell out of here and go save those people.
Fury turns to open the doors to the lab. Suddenly, Spider-Man drops from the ceiling and bites his arm. Hill shoots Spider-Man in the back of the head and then points her gun at her own temple.
Hill!
Go!
As the shot goes off, Fury keys the door mechanism and enters the lab. Interior, shield helicarrier, lab, night. Fury closes the blast doors and inputs the code to lock them down. The screams of the soldiers in the corridor can be heard even through the thick blast doors.
That's it for the force field.
The zombies pound on the doors, attempting to knock them down or break through.
That's not going to last long with Thor and Hulk both out there.
He turns around and he's holding his arm, which has a chunk bitten out of it.
How long until the infection takes hold?
It depends. Anywhere from a couple of minutes to an hour or so, depending on various factors.
I'm not taking any chances.
He pulls out his pistol.
What are you saying?
Maybe there's something.
Just don't let's all this be in vain. Get those people out of here. Make sure they're safe. They're all that's left.
Fury sticks his pistol in his mouth, then immediately pulls the trigger. His weapon clatters as his body drops to the floor. Mindy screams and grabs onto her dad. Thunderball starts up the portal device and it crackles to life. A blurry image of the other universe begins to form within the circular doorway. The zombies continue to pound against the blast doors from the other side.
Get ready to go.
What about you?
Someone needs to stay back and destroy the machine. Otherwise, they'll use it to invade the other world and devour every living thing there as well, including you.
But there has to be...
No. Sometimes there just isn't another way. There's no time to figure out an alternative. They'll be through that door any second, and we're already cutting it too close.
Young Dr. Reed appears inside the portal. Thunderball tosses him a tool and he catches it on the other side.
Dr. Franken, you got it to work.
Why does everyone always have to sound so surprised?
He turns to Kelly, Danny, and Mindy.
It's time.
Kelly kisses Thunderball, a real kiss, not just a because you're about to sacrifice yourself for me and the others kiss.
Thank you. Who knows, maybe in another universe some version of you and I are together, living happily ever after.
She wipes away a tear and climbs through the portal. Dr. Reed helps her through on the other side. Danny shakes Thunderball's hand.
Once again, I don't know what to say other than thank you. You're a good man.
Mindy jumps up and hugs Thunderball around the neck.
I'll never forget that you are the greatest hero in the world, in any world.
Thunderball hugs her back.
I had a lot to make up for.
Danny helps Mindy climb through the portal, then steps in himself. Thunderball sighs, then waves to Dr. Reed, who waves back. He powers down the machine, then picks up his wrecking ball. As he lifts his arm, the zombies break through the blast door and swarm into the lab. Thunderball spins his weapon as the zombies rush toward him. Just as he's about to smash the machine, Zombie Hulk grabs the metal wrecking ball in the palm of his hand like he's catching a baseball. Hulk pulls the ball away from Thunderball and opens his mouth like he's going to eat him.
Wait, Hulk! We may need him to make sure we can work the device.
Thunderball looks relieved.
Then you can eat him.
Zombie Iron Man walks over to the machine, relieved. He looks it over.
Nice job, Hulk. You just saved me a hell of a lot of work.
He starts up the machine again. Thunderball struggles to pull his weapon away from Hulk, but it's not budging. Iron Man works the controls.
Get ready for the buffet, guys.
Thunderball grabs Iron Man's arm and yanks off his glove.
What?
Thunderball pulls the armored glove on and fires a repulsor ray at the power source of the portal device.
No!
Exterior shield helicarrier night. The already damaged helicarrier lurches as a huge explosion creates a giant hole in its side. As flames rise into the air and smoke pours from the damaged area of the gigantic craft, the helicarrier starts to fall from the sky. It crashes into skyscrapers on its way down, then smashes into the ground in Times Square, destroying what little was left standing in the area. Interior Baxter Labs, alternate universe, night. Danny hugs Mindy as she sobs in his arms. Kelly stands in front of the dark portal device, staring at it. Dr. Reed clears his throat nervously.
No, this is a bad time, but I need to introduce you to my boss. We're gonna have to explain where, you know.
A large, handsome man in a lab coat enters the room. Other than his attire and demeanor, he looks exactly like Thunderball.
This is
Dr. Elliot Franklin. Pleased to meet you.
Mindy, Kelly, and Danny look at him in shock.
And that's how the world ended, and almost everyone died. But a few of us made it out alive, leaving behind the damaged world forever.
Exterior Times Square, night. Many of the zombie superheroes climb from the wreckage of the helicarrier, torn up, broken, and burnt, but mostly still functioning.
Sometimes I wonder what happened to the former heroes now that they don't have anything to eat.
They watch as their last hope for more food goes up in flames.
I hope they're hungry and in pain forever.
Giant man covers his face with his hands.
So hungry.
We get it, Hank. We're all hungry. You don't have to keep saying it.
Hulk is hungriest one of all.
Giant man looks at Hawkeye, who stays quiet.
Oh, sure, it's okay for him to say it over and over again.
From the shadows, Black Panther watches them in his stealth armor. He speaks, his voice barely above a whisper.
Now's not the time. There's still too many of them.
The Punisher moves up next to him, also hidden in the shadows.
Problem is, they keep making more.
Colonel America tosses his shield away in frustration and slumps to the ground.
Where are we gonna get more food?
They stare up into the stars as a silver streak crosses the sky. Fade out, the end. After credits teaser. Exterior Times Square, night. The zombie superheroes pick through the rubble, searching for any bit of flesh they can find.
It's no use. There's nothing left.
Why did you have to eat everyone so fast?
Hulk is hungriest of all.
There is a sonic boom, and a majestic, long-haired, black and silver figure appears in the sky. The Fallen One, a powerful being made of dark matter.
Greetings. Prepare for the arrival of Thanos of Titan, consort of death herself, and executioner of his own people.
The zombie superheroes stare at the new arrival, then look at one another and grin.